show. Thanks for
Hiya,
doing
mate.
this.
Thanks,
This
Sean.
is this is
Thanks
aw-
for having me.
this is good. Well, I've been a fan for a long time, and I know you've been busy and you're touring all the time.
We
Seems
have
like.
no, I've been playing a lot. Not as July, July and August. We played every weekend.
Hmm.
In fact, we headlined uh, like nearly every festival at the weekends in July and August, and we done about two in England, and the rest were in like Scandinavia, Europe, and stuff like that. So it all went down really well. Actually, we all had a great time, and then we'd obviously got we just done seven shows
Hmm.
in England and Scotland, and then I done a solo gig on Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday at
The 12th, right? It was the 12th.
was that was that Saturday?
Um,
Friday. I got
Friday.
it on
Okay.
Friday at
Yeah.
the it was like it's the place where uh Iron Maiden started off, and
Oh,
I'm
really?
not sure. I think Steve Harris owns it. He is now doing 5 nights with that band. He's got the British Lions,
Pretty fine. Yeah.
and he's doing 5 nights in a row. It's I was really shocked actually because when I got in there, there was people. When I, it's not a huge place. It's just like it holds about 200 people. But there's people there from Japan, Switzerland, Switzerland, Sweden. I mean, all over the place, and I didn't expect that actually, which was nice. But then a lot of people come from everywhere, now. They're
Is
just
it?
coming to see. They're just coming to see me because I'm still alive.
Well, you,
Everybody thought I was going to be dead when I was. Actually, funny enough, we were talking about this the other night, man, and you know that 27 club.
yep.
I remember I was living in Los Angeles, and on my 28th birthday, I was living in Hollywood, and I got a phone call, and it was Tyler from the Dogs to War. And I don't know how he got me number to this day, but he just rang me up and he went, on my 20th birthday, he went, "Ha! You're not going to be a legend." And I go, so I think that I am put on this earth now to play British rock and roll until the day I die. Until I get really old. I'm suffering for the art now, if you can call it that. But anyway.
Well, there's not that many rock bands out there, though. I mean, you're really at this point carrying the flag. There's not a lot of rock out
Do you know
there.
what, mate? We had a band on tour with us from London called the Soho Jukes, right? And I know if
Hmm.
Guy Bailey was alive, God bless him, he would adore them. And I did a song with them called Stones Throw Away. They're a cross between Mott the Hoople and like Ian Jury. That's how they remind me of. And we were saying, I was like going, I wouldn't you have thought in these years that some other bands would come out playing British rock
Yeah.
and roll or in that style. And I know it's difficult for young bands now, but it's just like I would have thought that somebody would come out and be doing this type of, you know, there's us and the Stones.
What it is it's the bluesy part. Like there are bands that cover like sound like a lot like Zeppelin, but no one really goes the other way and has the Stonesy feel and the
Yeah,
bluesy feel. They always
I
go for the
know.
Zeppelin feel, young bands, and then they burn out after a couple of years because everyone goes, "You sound like Zeppelin. You're not Zeppelin." They need to just kind of go
Yeah.
back to the blues rock and kind of get gritty. I mean, there's not a lot out there.
But I mean, in America, I mean, Zeppelin were just. I mean, I was lucky enough to know. I know Jimmy Page, and I've met Robert Plant a few times, and they're just iconic out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
In America, you know. I mean, that's when we're out in England and stuff. They don't get as bothered as much as in America, but
Oh,
it's just
really?
insane, isn't it? How big they are, considering you know. I'm allowed to say this because I know Jimmy. Considering everything is trad arrangement, you know. But Yeah. Hey, what a lovely guy he is. I mean, we spent a lot of time together in Vancouver when we were doing this. That's how I first met him properly. I mean, I did meet him before that, but we had the same tour manager. Do you know that? Richard Cole.
No.
Richard Cole was our tour manager as well. And
Wow.
if you ever read his book, we're in there, and there's a picture of us with him, and when we played Donington in 1990 with Harrison,
Okay. Yeah.
Mike Snake, and everything. What a great guy Richard was. He was the only one the only tour manager that we had that wasn't ex-army. All these tour managers for English bands, I don't know about American bands, but I don't think a lot of it's like Robbo who used to tour manage us, and we've had so many that are like ex-army because they're so good at. Robbo done Oasis after us, Duran Duran. They're so good at organising shit,
And
you
keeping people
know.
together, you know.
Yeah, and you
You
never
gotta
get
listen
in
to
any
them.
trouble, you know.
Right.
But Richard Cole, the stories he was writing his book when he was on tour with us, and the stories that he'd come out with about Led Zeppelin and stuff, you know, and all of them, because he started off way back when. So it was just, you know, what a lovely guy he was. Him and Guy Bailey got on like a house on fire.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame everybody's gone. Everybody's passing away. You
Not,
know, so many
not you though.
funerals. You know, but
You're gonna
anyway.
outlive them all, right?
Pardon?
You're gonna be the one who's gonna outlive everyone.
Unfortunately, it's looking like that. I was speaking to Tammy. I was thinking, Tammy, I was like, Tammy, I think all we're going to do now is just stay alive and we'll be really popular because there's no funny, there's hardly any bands left. You know, I think
Oh,
that
that's pretty funny.
I think with the Quireboys and stuff, we were probably one of the last generations that actually served the apprenticeship of being in the back of a transit van. We had a Bedford van, go up and down that motorway for like 4 or 5 years, sleeping on the amps, playing all the shit places, playing there used to be a huge university, you know, the, the universities were like the main gigs here, you know. I mean, like people like Andy Coppin, who runs Live Nation now. I remember when he was head of entertainment at Nottingham University. You know, everything's changed so much. But I feel so sorry for young bands now because there's really not that many places to play and to get on that circuit again. And it's a
Right.
different thing now. It's all social media, I guess, you know, and stuff like that. It's a good job social media wasn't around when we started because
Oh,
I don't think we would have done anything. Everybody with the phones and everything, you know, but it's a different world now, man. It
I'm glad
really.
their phones. I'm glad though. I mean, 'cause I'm 55, so we're close in age. I'm glad there were no phones growing up. I mean, to me, it was like, college. I was recording school. I was listening to you guys, and obviously Tammy and all those guys. And to me,
Yeah.
it was just like go. I was recording analog even at the point. It was right before digital too. So it was right on the cusp before everything. The bottom just went out on everything. You know,
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know,
everything.
the days when you used to have to beat I remember when we first got signed. I mean, I don't know how we were contacted with everybody, but everybody seemed to know you'd have to get a phone box, or
Yeah.
if you're lucky to have a phone in the house. I mean, for God's sake, you know, it's very bizarre when you think back. It wasn't life so much easier then.
It was so quiet. So
Do you know
quiet.
what? And there wasn't all the grief going on in the world.
Or you wouldn't know because you couldn't be looking on your phone. You just see it. It's just
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, luckily, I'm not really on social media, so I'm still old school. You know,
yeah. I try.
I'm lucky to do this tonight
I
to make
appreciate
a
it. Thank you.
Zoom. You know, it's just
Right.
that I've done so many. I've got that app on my phone, so I'm like,
Well, I
anyway,
appreciate it.
I've just
So
got in. I'm gonna have my first drink of the day.
please do. It's only noon for me, so if I start drinking now, it's not a good thing.
What time is it there for you?
Noon, 12 o'clock.
All right, okay,
A little
12
too
o'clock.
early. Yeah, a little too early in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
I'm not in a band.
I've, we've been playing, we've been playing so much, and then I slept for like a day. I've been up since like 8 a.m. this morning, just trying to catch up with everything.
Right.
But it's good. It's good to
So,
just wake up in the morning, mate.
well, you've been doing this for so many years, and a lot of artists get really beat and their voices go, but I mean, you have such a strong, raspy voice to begin with. I mean, you don't look like you've aged at all. I mean, you've really,
Do you know what? I've been so lucky on that. I went. Do you know what a good measure of this was? I played in Newcastle the other week, my hometown, and my mother, who's 87, she came to see me play, and she's seen me play since because I started the band when I was 17,
yeah,
and she was like, she says, "My God," she says, "look at you on that stage." She says, "You are singing better than ever," and she says, "It's like," she says, "I don't know how you do it, considering what you've been through." And I was like, "And what do you mean about showbiz?"
exactly.
But you know what? I had, and I mean, you got to remember the band when we got signed after about 4 or 5, I think it was 5 years of doing gigs. That's your apprenticeship, isn't it? And you
I
learn,
think so. I think it's like
you know.
college. It's like
I mean,
music college.
I'm from the days when we didn't have monitors,
Ugh,
you know. And so it's like when we play, I'm not worried as long as I've got my key. It
yeah,
doesn't bother me not having monitors, and that's why I never usually sound checked for years until recently with Luke and the guys because their harmonies are brilliant and they have to do
right.
it, all that type of stuff. And I'm like, you know, I was like, I don't need a sound check. They're like, well, it's for us. We have to have monitors. So this is all right. I remember the first time we had um, Phil Lewis.
Hmm.
He was in the LA Guns. We played this club in Liverpool, I think it was, and he was the singer in Torme then with Bernie Torme, a
Yeah,
group called Torme. And I met Phil when I was about 14. Actually, when the first time the girl was supporting the UFO, and I met her when I moved to London, and we were playing this club, and he goes, "Right, Spike, come here. We're going to go and see the promoter of this." It was like this old club, right, in like Liverpool, I think it was, or something. And he goes, "Right, come with me." We went in. There was this old guy sitting behind a desk, right, with a big
yeah.
cigar. And he went, and Phil Lewis went, "That PS, that monitor system is." He says, "You have to upgrade that monitor system because it's absolutely terrible." And the guy, he looked at him and he went, "If it was good enough for the Beatles, it's good enough for you." I'll never forget that. But nowadays, it's amazing. I mean,
How's your
it,
hearing
it
from it?
shocks me that, I mean, when I was hearing all this thing about auto tune and stuff like that, I mean, I am so naive on that stuff. And everybody seems to be using that auto tune. I mean, when that first came out, I remember I was in the studio and he says, "Oh, there's a new thing called auto tune. Try it on your voice." And I was like, "What does it do?" He says, "It was around the time when Cher had that song out, I think it was.
Right.
Years ago,
Yeah. Believe.
auto tune." And he was like, so I sang in this thing, and he went, "You can't use auto tune on your voice because it's got so many different." And I was in the studio in Spain actually doing this, the last album, Water Street, with Nick, and me and Luke were there with Nick Bryan. And he says, "Oh, we've got the new auto tune." And I says, "What do you mean?" And he says, "It puts your voice into tune." I says, "Well, I don't sing out of tune." And he went, "No," he says, "Honestly, try it. Just try it." I says, "It doesn't work on me." He says, "I know because we tried it the last time, but this is the new system." And I
Right.
went, "Let's see if it works in your voice." And I went, "He says, just sing something." So anyway, Spike, honestly, still doesn't work on your voice because of the different notes or whatever it
Yeah.
is within my voice when I sing. And I was like, "Isn't that metal?" So I wouldn't be able to use auto. And now we've got an auto tune live. I couldn't believe all this. I mean,
That's not, that's bad.
it's incredible, isn't it? I
It's not
think it's
rock.
great. I think it's great that Sir Rodney is still singing live and doing his best. I mean, anybody who's, I mean, I'd rather hear somebody singing the best than having it perfect. Would you not? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I want it live. I want mistakes. I want bad
Yes,
notes. I want
I know.
sweat. I
Yeah,
just want real. I don't
I
want
know.
to, I don't want a laptop. I don't want anything.
I
I want,
know.
you know,
But
tune a
isn't it
guitar.
so much better when, but then people go, oh, people are getting too old, they can't sing anymore and all that. No, it's not because you want to see that. You
Right.
want to feel that from them, don't
I
you?
got the record at home. I can just listen to the record at home if I want to hear it note for
I
note
know.
and stay on my
And I
couch.
mean, like Brian Johnson. Yeah, I know Brian, John, yeah, and I'm like, everyone's saying, oh, he's just, and no, hey, come on. Let him, that's, to
Yeah.
me, that's, you're giving it effort, you're doing your thing,
Yeah.
and me, him, I remember one day we were playing, where were we? I can't remember, but there was some singer warming up, and I said, I walked out, and there was me and I walked out of the dressing room. And there was Jono and Ronnie James Dio, and
Wow.
I says, hey, he says, oh, he's warming up to that. I said, do you guys ever warm up? And he went, do you? And I went, well, not really. And they went, no, we don't either. And I was like, I mean, I used to go, oh, like, do you
Yep.
know what I mean? And but that was the two guys that I knew, and
Yeah. I heard Ronnie never warmed up. I heard he just was like, people
pardon?
would ask, Ronnie would never warm up. I heard he just would
Do you know what?
belt
He
it.
was the loveliest guy. He was such a lovely guy. I mean, I've done a few festivals with him, and he was such a lovely bloke, really was. And then I remember one of my sister used to have all them out like Rainbow and stuff like that. And isn't it funny how I was at me when I was at my mum, she kept all of the tickets, all this stuff that I had on the wall from a kid, and she kept all of my tickets from the Newcastle City Hall, everything, and I was looking at them after all these years. And it was like no Zofgren. I mean, in Newcastle, I used to go and see everybody. Whitesnake, I was fortunate to see AC/DC with Bon Scott and all this. And I'm like, you know what? I've played, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, I've played with Bad Company. I was like, I've actually played with all of these bands.
Man,
Since
it's crazy, huh?
if I could look at it, the 12-year-old lad or 11, thinking, my God,
Imagine being able to tell
eventually,
yourself when you're a kid now, saying, "Hey," to your kid yourself when you're 12, being,
no,
"Hey, you're gonna
I
be playing
know.
with all these
I was
guys
thinking
in a
that
couple
the other
years."
day because I was thinking that the other day, mate, because you like you don't in your head, you still don't feel. I don't feel,
You don't feel like a grown up either, right? You walk by the
Yeah,
mirror and you
not at
said,
all.
"Who's that old guy
I
looking
know.
at me in the mirror?"
But it's strange, you know, carrying on like now. But the best thing is, I'm the youngest in the band again now. Because I'm 5 months younger than Nigel, and I always used to be the youngest in the Quireboys. So it was like
Well,
until
yeah, and then
until
Mach 2. What do you mean Mach 2, right? Version 2.
there's been a few versions, hasn't there? Do you know what? As well, my mom said that show.
Well,
This is it. Just the other week, she went, "This is how the band should have sounded." She says, "I can hear everything." That she says, "Having just one guitar like you first started, one
yeah,
guitar, the piano, you can hear everything, and it's not heavy. It's not like heavy rock loud. It's pure." Me mum, luckily, my mum and dad, my father, God bless them, they came once we were successful. They came everywhere with us, so it was like but they've seen us from day one. So it
that's
was
amazing.
Yeah,
A
you
lot of
know.
parents don't do that. The fact that she's so involved is pretty cool.
Well, my father was I mean, if it hadn't been for my dad when he first started, I mean, the amount of he'd turn up with sandwiches, drinks when he first started, when I was like 16, 17. And so my dad was very proud when we done everything. And he came to America when I moved to America and everything
Yeah.
like that. They came to a lot of places. They were there when I played with the Stones and tons of bands, you know. So yeah, you make me reminisce now.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like, you're at the point of your
yeah.
life where it's like the legacy part now, where you've established yourself. You don't have to prove yourself. You just do good music. You record. You move on. You play. You don't have to do
I
anything else.
I know. I think it's like sometimes when people when they're having a go at me or whatever, because I get told everything, and they're like, "Oh, well." I seem to have this thing where everybody thinks I'm permanently fucking drunk. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what's what? Because I mean, I drove to two festivals this year, right?
Yeah.
Drove there, and after the concert, drove back. Everybody still thought I was fucking drunk,
Is it
and
drunk?
I'm like, you know what? I must have this persona. I think I do. I think I must be like Dean Martin, where everybody just thinks I'm pissed all the time,
Well,
like
you're
drunk
probably
all the
happy
time.
too, but you're always lighthearted, I think, and people
Well,
expect
I always
bitterness.
enjoy,
So you must be
I
drunk. He's
mean,
happy.
do you know what? I love it. Like anybody else. I mean, I haven't. I must admit though, I haven't touched spirits like hard liquor in about 8 years.
Wow.
I haven't. I mean, like cognac or I haven't touched Jack Daniels in years, but that was my fighting days are over. So it's like I'm not drinking anymore. You know, I have a couple of martinis once in a while, but they don't count. What's in a martini?
I think they're invisible almost. They're clear. If
Yeah,
it's clear, it doesn't even
espresso
count. It's like water,
martini.
right?
I've had a couple of them, but I never, I don't drink a bottle of. Actually, when Guy Bailey passed away, and when you see somebody, and I've known Guy since we worked on the building site together, and he could drink a bottle of scotch and about 10 cans of cider. And then it did get to the point where he was drinking two bottles of Jameson's a day, plus the cider.
Wow.
And he would still be on a steady level. He's a bit like Lemmy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you see that, and you don't think anything's going to be wrong, really. You know what I mean? But obviously, it catches up with you in the end. But so just if I see a bottle of Jameson's now or smell whiskey, it
Yeah.
makes me sick because of Guy, basically. I think. But I was never. Funny enough, I was never a whiskey drinker. I did. We had the old rider came up on something that I was doing the other day, and it was like two bottles of Jameson's, two bottles of Jack Daniels, two bottles of vodka,
Wow.
25 beers, all this type of stuff. And it
And
was
like
like, my God,
three sandwiches, right?
we
And
used to
like
get
what?
through, huh?
And only like three sandwiches, right? It was all alcohol and a bag of potato chips or
Well,
something.
Guy Bailey used to live off bloody tomato sauce sandwiches. I don't know how long,
Well,
I don't know why he lasted so long, actually, but he did. I used to call him
ugh.
Lazarus because he used to rise from the grave. But the old, I say it every night when we're playing. The whole reason that we do these shows is for Guy. And it
Mhm.
has given me a new lease of life, I must admit. You know,
A lot of
from the
good reviews
writing
though.
side, yeah, from
Yeah.
the writing side to everything. I mean, it's been. And do you know what, mate? It's the best fun because I'm with very old friends of mine, like Luke Morley, Harry
Yep.
James, Harry, Simon Hansen. Sometimes when Rudy does it, Rudy comes back in, but we've got Willie Dowling, who is one of my oldest friends. We've all known each other I've known them since they're a bit older than me, but I've known them all since I was about 17, 18. We all started off together and we have such a laugh. And it reminded me what how we used to be when I used
Right.
to play with Guy. Everything was just fun and having a laugh, but we were serious about what we done. You know, I mean, when you think when I was looking at some stuff the other day, there's one thing about Guy Bailey. I mean, on all the live videos and everything like that, he never fucked up. You know, he
Right.
didn't. I mean, when you hear the live at Town Country Club, all these albums that we done, we were talking about this the other day. We never overdubbed a thing. The only thing that was taken off. I remember when I was in the studio one day was this doof, doof, right, and it was me kicking the mic stand.
Like,
That was it.
really?
I remember on it loads of that. So I learned how to kick the mic stand without making it go. Poof. But it's so funny because everybody thinks. I mean, with our band, none of us were brilliant musicians or anything, but when we played together, it all seemed to blend in, you know. And it's like Chris Johnson would play with one hand and on the piano. I was with Chris and Nigel. They introduced me in London when I played the other night, which was quite funny. So
Oh, really?
Chris and Nigel were there, yeah. So I've been spending a lot of time with Chris Johnson lately because um, Chris Kimsey.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, Guy Bailey had done 2 albums with Chris Johnson, and he's under the name of Thirsty, right? And Chris's wife Verena had written all these lyrics. A guy put the music to them, and they released 2 albums. And I'd heard about a couple of songs. I seen a couple of videos and everything, and I was like, oh, it's great that Guy had showed me them and everything, and I didn't think much more of it. And then after he passed away, Chris Johnson rang me up and he says, you know that art, the songs that we done with guys singing, and I went, yeah. He says, he was speaking to Chris Kimsey, and he went, what about right if you sing the best of Thursday, and you would take his vocal, and we blend them together, or you just sing some or whatever. And I went, oh my God, that would be amazing just to hear hear him again, and to hear me. So in London, I was in London a few months, well, about 4 or 5 months ago, and I went in the studio and I recorded about 20 songs. And my God,
Wow.
yeah. And I tell you what, it was these were recorded a few years like when Guy could still play properly.
Right.
And it is so sparse and so brilliant, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. And when we were doing it, uh, Chris Kimsey, everybody's like saying, oh my God, it sounds like these songs are made for your voice. And I went, yes, because half of them are old Queerboys riffs. And then I knew what they were, and he wrote in the same key as just like what we always did.
Yeah.
We were never when we were doing the new album. I was speaking to Luke about. We never wrote an open tuning or anything like that.
No.
No, it was Guy. We never done stuff like that. And these are just like basic riffs, mate. You got to hear it. I'll send you. What I've
Please.
just finished doing. There's
Yeah.
some amazing stuff. The lyrics are amazing that Raina had done, and the music the guys put to it. And you can tell it's Guy Bailey because no song goes over 3 minutes. No song. It's like, oh God. Guy used to hate writing songs that were longer, that we didn't have to do, you know, keep everything basic. Everything basic. And yeah. So that's going to come out, the best of Thirsty.
That's
That's
nice.
going to come out next year, and we're looking to do a special release in London. I think in about April, May. I think it is. We were talking about it the other day, and we're just gonna find a guitarist who can play like
Like
Guy as well. So
you've got to know some people at this point,
I do, yeah.
right?
And it's funny when Luke was the perfect guy for me to work with on the new Quireboys thing, you know.
Yeah,
And he got it straight away because Luke had seen us as a 5-piece, just one guitar,
yeah,
and it was I was so pleased that he got involved because he loved Guy, and you know he'd say to me, you know, within the guitar world, you know, nobody played like Guy, you know.
yeah.
They really didn't, because it was. And his interview that he done for Guitar Magazine was one of the Guitar Magazine. Have you heard of Guitar Magazine?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, guy, that interview is legendary. He was on the front cover, and it was usually it's like usually Joe Satriani or
Right.
Steve Vai, and Guy was on. And everybody who's read it, I'd love to get a copy of it. But it was it got the most complaints out of any interview ever.
Really? I'll have to check it
Guy
out now. I'm gonna find it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna find it.
I'd love to. If you find it, please send me a
Yeah,
copy.
I will. I'll send it to
But I
you.
remember it was like, so what do you use for effects? And guy's answer was white wine and volume. Do you use MIDI? Yes, and bassy and trebly. And there was hell on. I was like, have you any advice for young guitarists? And he was like, don't use chords. Don't use chords with numbers in. And it got loads of complaints. And Luke Morley remembers that interview, and a lot of other people do. I'd love to see it again. Oh,
that's hilarious. I'm gonna have to find that
yeah.
now. I love that. I
But
love that kind
within
of
the
stuff.
music community, he was, they knew when people played with Guy. Like when friends of mine in America, like Cecil DeVille, and they'd all play
Right.
differently. They'd all hang back. They wouldn't be like, they'd hang back and play. Like they'd play differently
Yeah.
around Guy for some reason, and it was because I think he had like the class to play that, you know, in that vein.
Yeah,
And
he does. He did it
he,
very different. I've had a lot of guitar players on and peers, and in our discussions, he's come up. His
yeah,
style of playing is well. It's really
yeah,
been they've
um,
enjoyed it because it's something about it's more in the pocket. It's more playing for the song.
yeah,
It's not overplaying. It's allowing the stage for the song without
yeah.
overdoing it. You know,
I
it's definitely
remember
been.
Guy, when I first met him, he was he was in a band. He used to play when we first started. He was a brilliant reggae bass player. We used to live in the Oval, which was I used to live in Brixton, and that was where we first started rehearsals. And he used to play in a band called Sharp Teeth, which was a reggae band.
Hmm.
This is before rap, where they used to do patchwork singing, and he every song he'd write, he'd start off on the bass and get the groove going,
Yeah,
and it was he knew more about I mean he would do stuff that people had never heard of, like Arthur Gunter and all these other musicians, and you know and with me being loving ragtime and all that type of stuff, he didn't really know half the people that I knew.
hmm
That Do you know what I mean? When I was a kid,
yeah.
starting off. Actually, I just went to see Ralph McTell the other night, who was probably one of the great ragtime players, and so it was like between us. But we always just went, let's keep it the most base. We always wanted to write like 2 chord songs. We all started off with 2 chords, and that's why on Water Street, the last album, we never done a 2 chord song. And then when I done the song Water Street, the actual song Water Street, I said to Luke, I says, please don't deviate from these two chords.
Yeah.
And that's just for tribute to Guy. And Guy's actually talking on the end of it. He's talking
Oh,
on the
really?
end of the song. I kept something off my phone off him, and so at the end of Wardour Street, which is lovely, you know.
It's a good album. The whole thing it's a good
Thank you.
album. It
Yeah,
I think one of the things with your voice though is because it has so much going on in it, you don't need a lot of guitar
I
going
know.
around.
I
It,
think that
it
yeah. What I regretted the most was I think when I look back on stuff and when I did when we when we started doing when I got the band back together in about 2000, I asked Guy Bailey when we got the deal off. It was what was that? That company. What were they called? I can't remember the name anyway. So it's about 2000. It was Iron Maiden's company actually. Sanctuary,
yeah,
and they gave us a lot of money to refund. And asked Guy, asked all the original band, and Guy was, "Darling, I shall not tread the boards anymore, but you have my permission to go knock yourself out." And I said, "All right then." And Chris Johnston had got a new life, and Kid and Rudy had got everything. So it was like that was why we went back. I moved back
right.
to LA, and we done that. But the trouble, I can sing in that range of Brian Johnson, and I can sing up that, and I don't particularly like doing it because in my
No,
head, I was like, in my head, I feel like I know it comes out sounding different to what's in my head.
right.
That way, in my head, I'm Mick Jagger, and then, but yeah, but it's weird when we're doing it now. I feel like I always used to get when we first went to America. Everybody, I'd get the Rod Stewart thing constantly, and then the guy would always be like, "Has anybody ever heard of Frankie Miller?" Or any? I'm not as good as any of them singers. I just try my
No,
best.
not in America though. I had to look up Frankie Miller. Only from you, I
Yeah,
learned. I didn't know that. I knew Rod Stewart. I was like, you first hear you think, oh, this is back like when Rod Stewart sounded cool. This is a type of music back in the faces. This is the rock and roll that I dug
yeah,
when I heard you guys. Now
yeah,
Rod Stewart sings and you go, man, you sound a little bit like Spike. It's kind of
yeah. I don't know.
it's gone full
They,
circle at this
they
point.
are. I mean, they are like legends to me.
They are. They are awesome.
It's a bit like when you hear your voice on the phone. You don't like to hear your own voice, do you?
Yeah.
But I have when I'm, when I didn't when you go on. I don't know if you've ever heard when we done Back in Black by AC/DC on from classic rock once. That's on YouTube somewhere. Uh, and on them other, I can singing that that register quite
Hmm.
easily. But I don't want to. That wasn't my cup of tea. It really isn't. So it was like I'm so much happy that I'm bringing the band back to what it should be.
Well, you sound
We are
happier on
not. We're not.
stage.
We're not Americana. We're not like We'll leave. The Allman Brothers. We'll leave all that up to the Black Crows and
Yeah.
Charlie's. But that's we are English rock and roll.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I wanted to get the band back to sounding, and that's hopefully what we're trying to do. And we're starting a new record with Luke in January, so we should have a new album out by
Wow.
next year. So we're getting something because we're doing so many shows coming up as well next year. So yeah, we're off to
Who's,
America actually as
yeah.
well.
Oh, really? I'd love to see you.
Yeah,
I've yet to see you. Um, so who's playing in the band with you now? I mean, so is it officially the Quireboys now? Because
yeah.
the other
Well,
guy
what
changed
we
the
do
band
is
name
yeah,
also.
what we the band. Obviously, Thunder on hiatus because of Danny.
Yeah.
Danny has a bit of a stroke and what have you. And and they're such good friends of mine, all of that band,
Yeah.
right? They really, I've known them since I moved to London when I was a kid. And so the way that things were happening was Rudy was playing the drums, or Simon Hansen, who's also in a group called Squeeze. You may have heard of them.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of them.
Harry, who was in Thunder.
Yeah.
So we alternate them, to the drummers, see who's around, what's going on, and what's the. But the core is me, Nigel, from the original band,
Oh
and
yeah.
Luke and Willie Dowling. Willie from the Grip,
That's awesome.
But so, and it's great. I mean, I understand if Luke, if Danny gets well again. I mean, Luke's done me a wonderful favor.
Yeah.
He really has, and everybody just loves doing it. So it's not like we're playing millions of shows and doing. I mean, we've all got side things that we're doing. Luke's just been on tour with his solo album. I've done another thing called Spike and the Jody Rogues. I'm also doing the Thirsty. We're going to play
Yep.
some shows with that. And
You've always done stuff though. I mean, you've done stuff with, everybody. You've, even the acoustic stuff for lately. I mean, you've always done projects with people, You've never stood still
well,
through the
you know
years.
what, mate? I think the thing is, if you stop, you've got to keep going and doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
do, but your peers didn't always do that. There was a time period when the grunge time and the record labels came.
well,
The
I was we was.
a
I,
lot of singers stopped. A lot of things stopped. They couldn't perform. You go no,
I think you know what with the
you
grunge
know.
thing. I don't. That had nothing. We could have carried on, but what people don't realize
Yeah,
was when the grunge thing happened. I mean, our audience was completely different anyway, but we had not stopped touring, right? Since I was 70.
yeah,
You must remember this. At the back of a truck, since I was 16, 17, up and down the mall, all this, right? And then we got our record deal, and then we didn't stop touring, and then we did the album, then the first album, then we didn't stop touring for a year, then we didn't stop touring again. And then we were just main guy, especially main guy Bailey, Chris
yeah.
Johnson, and Nigel, obviously, when we started the band, everybody was just shattered. And it was like, and I just had a kid at that point, and I had my son, and everybody's like, you know what? We haven't had a break. We hadn't had a break since so for all them years. We could have carried on, but I think we
Wow.
all would have died. A lot of bands carried on through that.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, it wasn't. I tell you what's funny. I went to the Forum in LA. You know, and I went down. There was
yeah.
David Roth and Bon Jovi were playing, and I tell you, man, and there was like Guns N' Roses. Everybody was there, and what an evening it was. And then about a few years later, when grunge happened, I went down to
Yeah.
see. I went down to see Nirvana. And I was like, what the fuck is happening here? And, 3 years earlier, everybody was so happy. And then I was like, for fuck's sake. Everybody, it was like so miserable. And like, I was like, oh my God, if this is what the
Yeah.
future holds, you know. But,
And there you go.
no, it's true.
You know. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there was a lot of good things that come out of it, I think, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But I think you were saying how old you are. Do you not think that by the time you get to about 18, 19, that is your music for the rest of your life?
For a
I
lot of
don't
people, yeah,
really,
it is.
I
Yeah.
don't really, I don't really, I can't even remember the last time I bought a record. I think the last time I bought was Macy Gray. I think
Wow.
you have your things as a kid, don't you? And then that influences you for the
You hold
rest
on to
of
them much. Yeah, a lot of people hold on to them more. Yeah,
yeah,
your music means something to them. Your albums,
yeah.
no matter how good they are, when they're in high school, that's it. That's all they care about. It's harder for me to like new music now. I mean, I listen to a lot of music. That's what I do, the show. But I
I
mean,
mean, but
it's
the
not the
thing,
same. It's not the same
what
anymore.
what bands are coming up now? And how are they doing it? How are they making money?
A lot of them
How
are living at home with their
how
parents,
do they survive?
small tours. They're just doing these little shows. They're not doing much of anything. They aren't.
Who are the big rock bands now?
I don't even know now who they'd be because I listen to such different music. I don't even, you know what I mean? I can't think of anybody that I could say that would be
Who's big in America that's new?
new. I don't even know. I couldn't even say. I don't listen to a lot of, I'm mostly rock. You know what I mean? And most of the stuff I listen to is
Yeah, but
older.
like, is there
Just
any
it's
new
not just
rock
nothing. No,
bands?
it's like the most happens is like rock bands come back, they break up, and it's a reunion, and then they're big
Yeah.
again. Literally, there really isn't a lot of rock bands out there. There's a band called Feel. I think it's Feel.
Okay.
They've been on. But they have a Zeppelin sound to them. A couple younger bands, but usually a lot of the bands are like one album's out and they're touring small, couple gigs and that's it. It's not like in the day when you would just tour for a year. There's
Yeah.
nowhere to go or no bands to open up for. It's hard for a lot of bands.
Yeah.
And top 40 is usually bigger in America than rock. You
Right.
you guys in England and in Europe has really kept rock and roll alive.
Right.
Because it like America does not have a huge rock. It's like New York, LA. You know what I'm saying? A couple spots and you can tour
Right.
around, but it's not
I
the
mean,
same. There's no
we
festivals.
yeah, we've had a lot of young. We've had quite a few young bands that were, that were trying to help out and stuff out here. But I don't know. I just feel sorry for them. It's like, fucking hell, what are you gonna do? What's gonna happen?
I don't know.
There was a band, Honey something. They
Yep.
played at a festival with us. They seem to be big in England or Europe or whatever they are. But I don't know. I don't know. It's uh, it's beyond me how this is all gonna carry on.
I don't know how they're gonna break through though. Like you said, the band Honey, like there's a bunch of bands of that rock level. I don't see how
Yeah,
they're gonna break onto that next level and carry on. A lot of
yeah,
them are playing, and not that they're not good enough. It's just that there's no audience for them anymore.
right.
There isn't.
I mean,
It's getting older and less young people
I know.
are listening.
It's weird, isn't it? I wonder what's going to happen in a few years for the
Hopefully, a
festival.
resurgence maybe.
I mean,
You
I
know.
see not Donington. It's called Donington is Download Festival now, and
Right.
it's all like bands that's like I really I like a tune you can whistle.
Yeah, that's going to change. I mean, metal is going good. I think more towards rock and roll is a challenge. I mean, metal
Yeah,
is fine. It's not going anywhere.
yeah,
But just rock and roll music, yeah, there's a big hole
yeah.
in the market right now.
I know what you mean.
That's is really is hard. It's funny you say that. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you really put me on a spot because I'm like, I can't really think of anybody that's really just jumping out right now.
I mean, you're talking about. I mean, Charlie Starr, and he's brilliant,
Oh
but
yeah,
that's more southern rock. It's like
right. Yeah, that
rock.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah. That Blackberry
oh,
Smoke is back with the Black
great,
Rose.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that's nothing like what we. Actually, I went to
and they're not
see
even
him.
new. They've been around for a long
I,
time though
I,
too.
I actually went to see him in England, and he started playing 7 o'clock. He did a country version of it, which was
Really,
lovely. Yeah, he did. That was really nice of him.
that's pretty
Uh,
funny.
yeah, but I know, but
That's why it's important to keep the band going at this point. Now you have to because there's
yeah.
nothing, no one else doing it. You
No,
got it.
do you know what we are? I'm just surprised there's nobody come along in that vein. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It
It's
must be so difficult now. You know, and I think that parents are pushing kids and stuff like that. But I don't know. And I mean, it's just not just that. It's the way. I mean, I still wear the same clothes I've worn for 40 years. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody
So,
does though.
you
You
know,
know.
no, no wonder everybody thinks, who the hell's he? You know what I mean? But it's all.
That's funny.
But you know, it's been great. Nigel leaves; he's going back to America, and Nigel's moving back actually soon. But we were talking about it. You know, I was like, we were getting dressed in the hotel the other night, and I went, Nigel, have a look at the mirror, and he goes, we were looking at each other. I says, we're wearing the same clothes. We were. He says, I know. Everybody wants to kick my heads in. You know, it's funny. Sean,
I'll check
it's
that out.
great to speak to you, man.
Thank you.